Have you ever wondered if there's like a practical ancient map to achieving truly profound inner peace and crystal clear clarity? Beyond just feeling good, we're talking about states where your mind is utterly serene and focused, like a perfectly still lake.
Right.
For many of you tuning in, jhanas might be a concept you've encountered, maybe in your meditation journey or studies.
Sure, it comes up a lot.
Today, we're not just reviewing them. We're really peeling back the layers to understand the incredibly precise instruction manual the Pali Canon lays out. And importantly, what that precision means for your own cultivation.
Base. Exactly. And our guide for this deep dive comes from an ancient text, specifically one, Gaṅgāpeyyālavaggo, which is a key part of the Pali Canon. And this isn't just philosophy, it's a remarkably detailed and consistent map of these meditative states. It really shows us the terrain of the mind in deep concentration.
A map, I like that. So our mission today is to decode this map, to unpack these four jhanas, understand their unique characteristics, and then explore a really compelling natural analogy that the text uses to describe their ultimate purpose, where this path naturally leads you.
Yeah, it ties it all together.
Think of it as understanding not just what the stages are, but why they matter and, what they unlock. Okay, so let's unpack this. The text immediately presents Kadarom, Bikafav, Shana. These are the four jhanas.
Yeah.
So if we're talking about a path to profound inner peace, where does this ancient text suggest we even begin this journey of mental refinement?
Well, jhanas are best understood as progressively deeper states of meditative concentration and absorption. They're cultivated through mental purification. They represent a systematic progression, really. You start with initial mental effort and move towards effortless stability. It's like rigorous cognitive training for the mind.
Cognitive training, okay. So how does that training start? The first jhana. It's described as achieving seclusion from sensual pleasures and unwholesome states.
Yeah.
And it's accompanied by initial application, that's vitakka, and sustained application, vikara. It's born of seclusion with rapture, piti, and pleasure, sukha sukha. That sounds like, well, a significant initial hurdle for anyone trying to quiet their mind.
Oh, it is, but it's crucial. When the text talks about sensual pleasures and unwholesome states, it's really addressing that constant stream of distractions, Desires, negative emotions, things that typically pull our minds in every direction. Could be anything from craving a snack to worrying about work.
Right, the usual mental chatter.
Exactly. And vitakka and vikara, that's the initial mental push to direct attention to your meditation object, and then the subtle, sustained reorientation back when the mind inevitably wanders.
Yeah, anyone who's meditated knows that feeling.
For sure. It's that familiar process of initial effort and refocusing. And the rapture and pleasure here, they're not like fleeting worldly joys. They're a profound sense of ease and delight that arises specifically from the tranquility of this seclusion, from, the quiet triumph of freeing the mind from its usual stuff.
That idea of pleasure born from mental quietude. That's really fascinating. It makes me wonder, how does the text then describe the transition, to the next stage?
Yeah.
When even that initial mental engagement falls away. Because for the second jhana, the text describes the suppression of initial and sustained application, leading to internal tranquility and unification of mind without vitakka or vikara, still born of concentration with rapture and pleasure.
Right, and what's fascinating here is the deepening of concentration. It's almost like the mind hits a new level of coherence. It no longer needs that initial effort or that sustained mental prodding to stay focused. It's just become so stable that internal tranquility and unification of mind just naturally arise. Think of it like learning to ride a bike, maybe. In the first jhana, you're still consciously pedaling and steering, right? In the second, you've found your balance. The ride becomes much smoother, more effortless. It's a truly collected and unwavering state.
Smoother, effortless. Okay. Then, for the third jhana, the text quotes these key elements. There's a fading of rapture, and the practitioner is remaining equanimous, upekako, mindful, and discerning, sampajano, experiencing pleasure with the body. And it makes a point to say, the noble ones declare him to be equanimous, mindful, one who dwells in pleasure. That transition from vibrant rapture to equanimity, it sounds almost counterintuitive for some. Why would that intense joy fade? Is that crucial for deeper peace?
Yeah, that raises an important question, and it's a really profound insight into the mechanics of deep meditation, I think. The vibrant, sometimes intense rapture of the second jhana, while obviously pleasant, can still be a subtle distraction, a kind of excitement,
Ah, okay. Still a ripple.
Exactly. So the fading of rapture in the third jhana marks a transition to a more subtle, profound sense of equanimity and crystal clear clarity. The pleasure isn't that exciting joy anymore. Instead, it's a deep, pervasive sense of well-being that's interwoven with sharp, mindful awareness.
Right.
It's a state of balanced composure, where the mind is deeply peaceful yet fully awake, no longer swayed by strong emotional states, even the positive ones.
So we're moving beyond even the most sublime forms of mental pleasure then. And then finally, we arrive at the fourth jhana. The text describes this as the abandoning of pleasure and pain and the disappearance of former joy and sorrow. This leads to pure equanimity mindfulness, upakasati bodhisuddhi, neither pain nor pleasure. What does it mean to transcend all feeling, even pleasure?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, this is really the culmination of the jhana sequence, a true peak of mental purification. It's a state of profound neutrality and purity of mind, transcending all those dualistic feelings, both the happiness and the suffering we typically experience.
Right.
It's not a numb state, though. That's important. It's a highly refined state of consciousness where the mind is utterly still, clear, and unshakable, beyond all fluctuations of feeling. You know, many modern psychological frameworks are starting to appreciate what these ancient texts understood. That true mental stability and well-being come from cultivating these inner conditions, moving beyond the constant push and pull of pleasant and unpleasant sensations.
That makes sense. It sounds like an incredible journey of mental mastery. But what's the ultimate purpose, the destination of this path? The text then introduces this powerful metaphor, repeating it multiple times, which I found just beautiful. Sayatapi, bikave, gaganadi pagnananda paknapu pagnapapara, and so on, ending with Nibbāna ninahuti, Nibbāna putni mandapapaharo. And for our listeners, this means, just as the Ganges River naturally flows inclined, tending and leading towards the east, so too a practitioner developing and practicing abundantly the four jhanas naturally inclines, tends, and leads towards Nibbana.
Yes, and the significance of those Pali terms, nina, pabara, and pabara, is really key here. They convey a natural, almost irreversible inclination or tendency. It's not a forced trajectory. It's inherent. It arises from consistent, abundant practice. This metaphor really underscores that the jhanas aren't just isolated states to achieve, you know?
Right.
They are a sequential, purposeful path where each step naturally guides you toward the ultimate destination. It's almost like the text is saying, stop swimming against the current of your own mind. Learn to align with its deepest nature.
Stop swimming against the current. I like that. And what I found particularly fascinating was the repetition throughout the source material. The same analogy is used not just with the Ganges, but with various other specific rivers, the Yamuna, Ashuravati, Sarahu, Mahi. And while some are described flowing east, the text eventually culminates in this final summary that all great rivers ultimately flow to the ocean. That really emphasizes the natural, inevitable outcome, doesn't it?
Absolutely. That repetition isn't just poetic flair, it really drums home the certainty and the universality of the outcome. Whether the immediate direction is described as east or the ultimate destination is the ocean, the point is, consistent and abundant cultivation of these jhanas consistently leads to Nibbana.
Right.
It illustrates that ultimate peace isn't some random spiritual fluke, but a natural and inevitable consequence of this precise, dedicated mental cultivation. The more you cultivate these states, the more your mind just naturally inclines towards liberation, like a river naturally flowing to the sea. It just goes there.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener? What's the sort of profound insight we can take from this ancient wisdom for our modern, often pretty chaotic lives?
Yeah, this raises an important question, right? The profound insight here, I think, is that true inner peace and unwavering focus aren't just fleeting sensations. They're actually cultivable skills. Yes. The jhanas aren't just mystical states, but a systematic mental training. They prove that your mind, kind of like a muscle, can be refined. It can be trained to effortlessly settle into profound clarity and contentment. And the river analogy shows it's a natural consequence of consistent mental hygiene, not some struggle you have to constantly force.
So it's not about gritting your teeth forever.
Not in the end, no. It's a reminder that liberation, or whatever you want to call that deep peace, is a natural unfolding when the right internal conditions are diligently cultivated.
And there you have it, a deep dive into the jhanas, revealing them not just as states of meditation, but as, well, a profound journey of mental purification and concentration. And that beautiful river analogy paints such a vivid picture of how this unwavering practice naturally guides you, like a river to the ocean, towards ultimate peace and liberation.
So maybe a final thought to leave you with. How might this ancient perspective on directed mental cultivation and this idea of natural inclination, how might that shift your understanding of setting and achieving profound inner goals in your own life?